Zohran, good to see you.
Good to see you. How's it going?
New York has never been more popular, and neither has Zohran Mamdani. New polling shows that New York voters are finally waking up to the brilliance that is Zohran's administration. He's so undeniable that even the establishment hit pieces from the Wall Street Journal are forced to reckon with the truth that Mamdani is more popular than ice cream in the summertime. We caught up with Zohran Mamdani to answer a few questions before he headed off for a much-needed vacation.
We're now 8 months into your tenure as mayor. What are you most proud of so far?
I would say universal childcare. We are just a few weeks before the start of the school year, and we are going to see 2,000 families receive free childcare for their 2-year-olds for the first time in New York City history. And those are 2,000 families that are going to save more than $20,000 a year they would otherwise be spending. And that's exactly the point of delivering on affordability, is that you make it easier for families to raise their kids here. 2,000 families this year, 12,000 families next year, every single family of a 2-year-old by the end of year 4.
I saw that yesterday you announced support for a new plan to make Amazon follow worker protection laws for their drivers. Can you talk a bit about that?
You know, we're talking about one of the wealthiest, most profitable companies in the world, and we're also talking about a company that employs third-party contractors to shield themselves from liability and responsibility when it comes to worker protections, and when it comes also to the fact of safer streets, because we know as there's been a surge in, deliveries and this model of business, we've seen a lot more accidents, a lot more crashes on our streets, and we've also seen a lot more worker accidents at the workplace. And yet these workers are shielded from being able to hold their actual employer accountable by layer after layer after layer of subcontractor. And so what this would do is actually make the person calling the shots, the one setting the quotas and the schedules and the deliveries, which is Amazon, responsible for all of this work.
You announced also a new bus action plan and held a bus rider town hall recently. Can you break that down a bit?
Yeah, so more than 1 million New Yorkers ride the bus, and we live in the greatest city in the world, and yet they are riding some of the slowest buses in the United States of America. We're talking about buses that can at times struggle to reach 5 miles an hour. And I know you or I, if we're running late in the day, we can be walking faster than that. So this bus action plan is about giving New Yorkers up to 6 minutes back each day, each way, by speeding up these buses. And so that town hall was a great chance to meet New Yorkers and hear from them of what does it mean when they're on a bus that's crawling? What does it mean when they can't trust when the next bus is going to come? And what would it mean to deliver the first bus rapid transit in New York City on Flatbush Avenue?
You also delivered a historic rent freeze for New Yorkers this year. What are some other measures you've been taking to help out tenants in the city?
One of our focuses has been on the rental ripoff hearings, where we've had a different hearing in every single borough, listening to New Yorkers of what are the struggles they faced in living in New York City, and what have they faced from landlords who have at times taken advantage of them and made that into a business model. And out of those conversations have come a new set of policies that are really showcasing what it looks like to have those tenant concerns front and center. One of them is that we are going to investigate every single heat complaint made in New York City. And we know that's critically important, not just, it's frankly sometimes framed as if it's about comfort, it's about safety. Because given the level and the intensity of the cold in our city, and the fact that when you do not have adequate heating, you are pushed into using measures like a space heater, these are things that can actually keep New Yorkers safe if we actually follow the law.
You've become sort of a Spider-Man-like figure in the city, answering the call to fix things that residents are posting about on social media. Why do you think your brand of sewer socialism is resonating so much right now?
I think first and foremost, I want to give credit to city workers because they are doing an incredible job. We have more than 300,000 New Yorkers who are showing up every single day. And I think the reason that their work is resonating with New Yorkers is that these are the examples that people see in their own lives of disinvestment in their own neighborhoods. And what that has led to is many New Yorkers thinking that government is something that is either irrelevant to their struggles or just a creator of despair in their own lives. And we want to show that government isn't just responsive, it's also how we make working people's lives better. And it is such a joy to be working with these workers who are delivering it every single day.
Now, 3 candidates that you endorsed beat established Democratic incumbents in primaries this year. Do you think that's sending a message to party leadership?
I think it's showcasing that voters are hungry for a different kind of politics. And whether we're talking about Daria Lisa or Claire or Brad, these are all candidates who've made it clear that they want the future of the party to be the workers of this party. And what is a party if not its voters? And these voters are showing time and again, they want us to stand for something, not just stand up to a federal administration, but also have a vision of what comes after this one.
Yeah, I mean, you've said that the Democratic Party needs to be taken back to the days of FDR and LaGuardia. So what is your vision for like how the party should look going forward?
I think it's very much in that way. You know, when we think about the New Deal, when we think about what we could deliver and the scale of what we delivered for working people, that's what we have to bring back to our politics. Because for too long, it's felt as if politics is a hobby for those who can afford to have it, not something that could deliver a better life for those who are being priced out of one today. And when I think about Fiorello LaGuardia, who I believe is the greatest mayor in our city's history, you look at the way he reshaped the city in the image of those workers, and that's what's possible today, is if we can say that it's not just about looking to survive in the nation's most expensive city. It's actually about being able to build a life here, and that should mean that we take their struggles as if they are our responsibilities and deliver on them.
There's a whole right-wing media ecosystem that seems dedicated to running any kind of negative story they can find about you, and yet you stay focused on avoiding the noise and delivering on the needs of everyday New Yorkers. How do you tune that out and stay focused?
You know, I think part of it is always asking yourself whether this is noise or this is in good faith. And good faith doesn't just mean compliments, it also means critique. And you know that in today's day and age, there's a lot of noise. And one of the things that growing up in New York City prepares you for is how to differentiate what's noise and what you actually need to engage with.
We've also seen record low crime rates in the first 7 months of this year. There was a lot of fear mongering that crime would be rampant when you became mayor. Why do you think your approach has been working, and what do you say to those who push false narratives?
Well, I think New Yorkers can see it for themselves. We're talking about the lowest number of murders and of shootings in recorded history. And yet we know that for so many months over the course of the election, and even after the election, before we took office on January 1st, fear-mongering was reaching its high. And what we want to show is that no longer is it an intellectual question of what does it look like when a city has a Democratic Socialist mayor. We are showing what it looks like. It looks like a safer city. It looks like a more dignified city. And all of this is building on the example of what we've seen come before us. And for me, one of my inspirations is also David Dinkins, who was the first Democratic Socialist mayor of our city and spoke about this city as a gorgeous mosaic. That's what we want to deliver on.
We also saw a lot of billionaire bedwetting about capital flight that seems to not have really materialized, and if anything, the opposite has happened with many businesses doubling down in the city. Did you ever waver in your commitment to standing up against big moneyed interests, and how do you pull off that balancing act?
Yeah, I think I've always been clear, and I will always continue to believe that this is a city that has room for everyone. And that also means that we have those who can afford it pay a little bit more so that everyone can actually afford to live here. Because if this becomes a city where working class people commute in to work and then leave, we lose what makes it so special. And we don't want it to be a museum of working class possibility. We want it to be a living, breathing testament of it. And I'm glad and excited to see that we are seeing businesses recommit to the city. We are seeing so many move to the city with the dreams that so many before them have had, and we want that to continue to be the case.
Zohran Mamdani, thank you for being with us.
Real pleasure. Thank you. Thanks, man.
Good to see you.